To this show with any regularity, you know that I'm going to say we're only going to get one December 15th, 2021. So let's make it a good one, especially by doing some mule and donkey talk. My name is Dave. This here is Steve Edwards. Every Wednesday, we get together to talk about mules and donkeys, help you gain trust and get results with your training. You get out there, you spend some time. You don't want to walk back in feeling frustrated, feeling like you're wasting your time, feeling like you just can't get it. You want to feel like, hey, I'm making life better for this animal and I'm making life better for myself, and I'm getting one step closer to being able to saddle up and ride or drive or pack. When it comes to versatility, there's nothing that these animals lack. And so we want to get you fixed up, and that's what we're here to do. Steve, how are things going out there on the ranch today?
All right, golly, we got a little rain last night. Always accept the little rain. And
Yes.
Matter of fact, I got a sign out there on my gate says that a good mule and a new rein is always welcome.
Yes. We'll take it anytime we can. Folks don't understand it. Whenever someone from Arizona goes out and spends some time elsewhere, friends will always be like, oh, I'm sorry we got about this rain. I don't know. There's nothing we can do about it. It was sunny all before you showed up, and then all of a sudden you got here and it rained. And they're all, apologizing. I'm like, hey, bring it on. I never get rain. Matter of fact, I hope it pours. And they're like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's 330 days a year of sunshine. 30 days of rain, I'll take it. So we enjoy that. Yeah, don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone. Best kept secret. Y'all don't have to shovel sunshine. All right, so the way this works is we do talk mules and donkeys for an hour straight, sometimes a little bit more. And if you're feeling like you got a horse question, we'll talk that too. But before anything else, we want to know that you're here. And you'll already see that Megan's getting us going here. We want to know your name, where you're watching from, and what the weather is like. Why? Because we want to say hello to you. Anybody can just come on YouTube or Facebook and just start talking at the wind. Well, we don't want to talk to the wind. We want to talk to real people. And prior to this YouTube and Facebook thing, Steve used to travel all around the country and was only able to talk to a few people. Well, now through social media and live streaming, we're able to talk to hundreds, if not thousands of people every single year and help them gain trust and get results. So your name, where you're watching from, what the weather is like today so we can say hello to you. The second thing is we need to know what mule and donkey questions you got, because without those, there is no Ask Steve show. It's just Steve Talk show. And I guess we could wind them up, let them go, see what happens. But it's a lot more fun when y'all are able to walk away with something that really is going to be meaningful to you out in the corral, out in the pen, out on the trails. That's what we want for you. So go ahead, ask any and every question that you got. We'll make sure it gets you fixed up. Sometimes it'll be free. Sometimes it'll cost money. Sometimes it'll be easy. Sometimes it'll take some discipline and some patience. Sometimes it's a combination of those. But it will be the truth, God's honest truth. Also, you can get out there and enjoy owning these animals. And then the third thing is we ask that you help us get this program out to more people. And the best way you can do that is just by commenting and liking the video if you're over on YouTube, subscribing to our channel and leaving a comment. Or if you're on Facebook, clicking the share button, sending it out to all the folks on your feed and letting them know that, hey, there's a guy over here doing things just a little bit different and it makes a lot of sense. And you'll find it makes for a lot of results too. So what we're going to do, Steve, if you're all right with it, we'll just go ahead and say hello to a few folks who are with us already, and then we'll get into our first question. Does that work for you?
Sounds good to me, partner.
All right, so Megan is here. She got us started, said hello. You know what? I'll give Megan a glockenspiel there for getting us started nice and quick. Thank you, Megan. She's watching from Idaho and a lot of snow. Cowboy Ken is tuning in from Connecticut at 45 degrees with clouds. Daryl is watching from Alabama, taking us all the way down to the south, sunny and 70 degrees. Michelle is watching. Dave and Steve from Florida, cloudy and rainy. Enjoy the clouds and the rain. Polly is watching from Barnesville, Minnesota, above 30 degrees, but the cold is coming tomorrow. Jackie is watching from Placitas, New Mexico. I feel like I haven't seen you in a couple weeks, Jackie. If you have, and I just don't remember, I apologize. But if you've been away for the last several weeks, it's good to have you back. We're glad to have you here. Nancy is watching with Donkey from warm, sunny, 71 degrees in Mountain City, Tennessee. Till it's time to go to church. Thank you both for all you do. Appreciate that, Nancy. Thank you. JoJo's watching from Newland, North Carolina. Janelle is watching from Shediac, New Brunswick, Canada. Very windy today, taking us international for the first time. We appreciate that. Steve Edwards, you are my mule mentor. That's from Christine Snelleberg, Steve. You are the virtual mule mentor. You've been called a lot of things. You ever been called a virtual mule mentor?
Recently, yes. I just was told just a few minutes ago I was the godfather.
All right. Yeah. Well, been called a lot of things.
Yeah, mostly half-assed.
For the next hour, folks, for the next hour. Myra's here from Southern California. It's crisp, beautiful day, 4 inches of rain. Megan says, I'm a first-time mule mom of 2. Any tips will be helpful. First time, we'll give the glockenspiel for that as well. Glad to have a first-time owner here. Steve, let's start with that. What are some tips for a first-time mule mama?
First-time mule mama. First-time mule and donkey mama, all of them first-timers. Communication, which means come along hitch, come along hitch, come along hitch. Ground communication. Look, folks, icing on the cake is the riding. That's the riding. Everybody wants to ride and go. But listen, when all of a sudden the mule goes to the left and you want to go to the right and you can't get it corrected, and the left is not where you want to go, you better do something with it. And so this way here, do your ground communication. Everything is developed from the nose using the come along hitch, not the halter. Yeah, y'all gonna hear me harp on this pretty heavy because so many people say I put the halter on and it's not working, Steve. Look, 6 months builds a foundation. 4 to 6 hours per week. Okay? And that's a lot. But the best thing you can do is use that come along hitch everywhere you go. Don't just put the halter on. Don't do that. When you tie them, teach them to ground tie. That's the best way to do it. That's the best way for the new mama to get started.
That's right. Here's the thing, though. You're never going to graduate it. You're never going to graduate ground foundation training. Steve's been working with these animals for longer than I've been alive. And if you come out to a clinic at Queen Valley Mule Ranch, you're going to see him break out the come-along rope just like a brand new mule mama would do. And that's because it is an incredible communication tool. And it really does a great job communicating with the animal. But more than that, it gives you a tool to master your communication, to work on your timing, to work on your communication. You'll see, Steve, you don't want to take the come-along rope and be pulling and tugging and tug of war with them because they're going to win. They're bigger than you. But you put that come-along hitch in the right places and all of a sudden, bump, 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 does just enough. And you don't even have to pull on that thing eventually. You just hold it over your hand and the slightest pressure is going to get that animal to move. So Megan, we don't actually tell people they need to buy stuff because you're an adult. You take all the information in and then you make the decision that's best for you. We really don't tell people you need to buy this. We give you the information with one exception. The ground foundation starting kit. That's the one thing we tell folks you really need to buy it. Don't just buy the come along rope. Don't just buy an adjustable rope halter. Don't just buy the instruction video. You need to get the kit, which comes through with all three, and you will put all three of those tools to work for you. Starting with the come along rope, that's where you're going to do the majority of your training. The rope halter is going to be helpful for leading and other things like this. And the problem mule video is going to be helpful in putting all of it together. So get that. You'll do yourself a huge favor, and you'll see the results that you want. And if you don't see the results that you want, give us a call. We're going to be able to help you. Let's see here. We've got... Christine says, Steve knows that I love him. Yes, we all love Steve. Matt is watching from Southern California in the 40s. All the surrounding mountains have snow. That is a sight to see, I'll bet. Christine, 100% correct. Come along, Hitch. Come along, Hitch. Come along, Hitch. Fricks is watching. Guy from Hillsboro, North Carolina in the 50s today and sunny. Mule shies at bicycle. All right, Steve, we got a mule shying away from the bicycle. What is happening and what do we do about it?
Well, there's no such thing as desensitizing, folks. There's not. So don't think, okay, I want to take my come along rope and I'm going to go by with a bicycle. Oh, wait a minute. What happens if tomorrow 3 bicycles go through at one time? Yes. Or you're going along and you're trail riding and all of a sudden a bicycle comes up over the hill, you know? It's a moving thing. So it's up to you, the rider, just like you, the driver on the car, to be able to take care of the problem. Here's what I would do. Yes, it would start on the ground with ground communication. When the bicycle is going by, the split second, the mule moves his head up. You want to fix the problem before it becomes a problem. So before the animal turns and takes off, you take and bump, bump, bump. So the mule is going along, or the donkey's going along, just kind of looking. All of a sudden looks up and goes, oh, bicycle, boom, boom, boom. Yes, that's what you do. But now, will that fix the problem? Nope. You will have another bicycle someday. You may have a rattlesnake someday. You may have a bear someday. Yeah, all those things. They all come up. So it's up to you, the rider, to be able to say, we're going to stand here and watch that bicycle go by. Or move and walk with the bicycle right alongside of it, right behind it. You know, I can tell you that when I've chased bears and mountain lions up trees with a mule, they didn't want to go near that bear. They didn't want to go near that mountain lion, but because of my spurs and my communication value, they went there.
So, so it sounds like it's not so much the bicycle. It sounds like it's more communicating when the bicycle, how you communicate when the bicycle comes around, or whatever the case might be. Am I understanding that correctly?
Exactly. Because here's the thing. People say, he doesn't like bicycles. Oh no, what's he going to do? I know he doesn't like bicycles and he's going to take off running. What am I? No. Just look past the bicycle and ride or walk. My preference is ground communication kit using the come along hitch. My preference is take and never turn and go away from the item. Because if you turn and go away, you give them what they want for a split second. Always face it. Right brain, then maybe left brain. Right brain, left brain. If they won't go straight, then go right and then go left. Right brain, left brain, and go toward it. But you are never, ever going to get them to say, okay, it's a bicycle, no big deal. One day it's going to happen. Now, here's the deal. I tell people this all the time. And this may not have snuck up on you, but my wife could be in the kitchen working away. And she knows I'm in the house. All of a sudden I come around the corner, honey, okay. I startled her, okay. The thing with the mules, they go with all 4 feet to startle. So the best thing you can do is get your come along hitch off, folks, and use that come along hitch. Nobody should ever tie to a hitch and post. You know, you walk up, throw the lead rope on the ground, the come along hitch on the ground, and do all your work. If you get that good, then you can ride anything out there.
That's great. Linda says the way Dave touches his nose, he kind of acts like Steve has made him wear that come along hitch. I'll tell you what, there's sometimes Sandra probably would want a little bit of extra control around the house. So maybe a little bit there. You need to take, Christine says, you need to take a lesson and or a clinic with the come along rope. Absolutely, Christine. So we've got lots of amazing resources on our YouTube channel, hundreds of videos, and there's a lot of training with the come along rope and adjustable rope halter in there, timing, all sorts of stuff. So be sure to go check that out. And folks, if you are on YouTube right now, please go ahead, just click like on the video. If you enjoy these videos, go ahead and just click like, and that lets YouTube know that, hey, this is worth recommended. Same thing over on Facebook. Go ahead and drop some likes for us. Give us those big thumbs up. Folks are really going to appreciate seeing this pop up in their feed, especially when they feel like, man, all that's out there is for the horses. Well, you know what? We got the mules and the donkeys covered. Jim says, good afternoon from Irondale, Alabama, 63 degrees and turning cloudy. Eileen, hello from snowy Nebraska. Hello, Eileen. We're glad you're here. David O'Brien is here. Great to see y'all. 78 degrees and very windy in East Texas. We had some big winds here last night, David. I got to fix some stuff in my backyard. I don't have a lot to fix, but what I do, I got to fix. Michelle says, Steve, I love my Trail Light saddle. So comfortable. That's the first time we've ever heard that, Steve. No, we appreciate every time somebody shares that, and we keep selling them because that's actually the theme. We just hear more and more people sending in that they love their saddle, but more than that, the transformation that happens in their animal is like night and day. Yeah, so thank you so much for sharing that, Michelle. Stacy is watching from a very windy Colorado. Jackie says, FYI, got my neighbor to try the come-along rope on her 2-year-old Icelandic. She ordered it from you, and it's working great. This rope works beautifully on all equine and my husband, too. There we go, getting some results. Getting some results around the house out in the stall. Very good. We've got, Linda says, Dave, did you see the pics I sent you of what Theo did after I messed up? You know what? I did, and I got to go back and find them. I'll see if I can find them while Steve's talking. Another Linda is watching from Vanceboro, North Carolina, 71 degrees. Matt says, have you seen the YouTube channel Bronx and Donks? They do a lot of ranching on mules, and they're awesome advocates for mule and donkey lifestyle. If you haven't heard of them, you got to check them out. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. Beth is watching from New Hampshire, cloudy, 45 degrees, and making Christmas ornaments, I would assume. Good to have you here, Beth. That's Beth Meredith. This is Beth Sauter. Good to have you here, Beth. Julie says, I have a 16-hand, 13-pound Molly draft. I need to order cinches for her. Where should the buckle end on her girth on her belly? Steve?
Well, it's not really rocket science where it should end. It's actually where it should end toward the end of the day, at the end of the ride. So at the end of the ride, if it's 4 to 6 inches, that's enough, okay? So I like to see about, there's a video where I talk about it. So it doesn't really matter where it ends. It just matter is how much room do I have at the end of the day. If I've got enough for adjustment, good. But there I am talking about it, and it's a great video, and I'll drop the F-bomb on you. It's free. There I'm throwing the rope over, and I'm going to get a measurement. All right, now I'm going to measure how far it is. That's going to be my D-ring. And look where my hand is on the left-hand side. That's about where the average D-ring is going to be right there. It's going to be the average D-ring of the saddle. And it can be down a little bit lower, but don't worry about it being perfect. It's not that important, as long as you get it close. There, we're going to measure it. And this is all free, and you can get a measurement as to what it is.
Yeah, it's going to move. Once you get to moving, within the first 5 minutes, the positioning is going to change. And so I'll put a link in the comment section to this video, but I'll also put a link to our mule saddle training course. And really, you want 1.5 inches of space in the front where the bridle is, and then you want 1.5 inches in the back where the britchin is. And that 1.5 inches is the give that you'll need for riding. And you're going to have other sorts of adjustments that you need to make. But the mule saddle training course shows Steve go through the entire saddling process, and then you can immediately see the changes in adjustments that have to happen within 3 minutes of just not even riding, just walking the animal around. So great question there, Julie. Appreciate that. Levi says, hey there, y'all, coming in for Galloway, New Brunswick. All right. Cold, cold, cold. It was nice talking to you the other day, Steve. Got to chat with Levi. That's awesome. Jim, who watches pretty much every video we put up online, is watching from Western Maryland, 48 degrees. And glad to have you here, Jim. Karen is watching from Virginia. Thanks for doing this. Hey, thank you, Karen. Glad that you're here. You make this show better. Michelle is watching, says, I was totally surprised to get a personal thank you call from Steve for my little order. I kept thinking I would realize I was talking to a recording. Y'all, the day Steve Edwards does a recording voice is the day after Steve Edwards was put in the grave. Over his dead body is how that's going to have to happen. No. Steve Edwards calls on the phone. Now, it is from a cell phone. It's not from a landline. We got him into the future a little bit here, but he does give you a call. Michelle, thank you for saying that. Steve, you sent me a little bit of a video earlier this week. This one was from Ann. I'm going to play this video here. Tell me what we're seeing and what you wanted to share from folks.
They see how this mule is walking along in a single balanced. That's what we're looking for. That's the perfect place for the halter. In this case, we've got the martingale. Now notice that the lady that's in the center there, the mule was walking along nice and quiet. And then the lady asked the mule to go up into a trot. And notice the head now went elevated. Before, it was balanced. Top of the hip, top of the wither, top of the head. You see that? Balance. That's the way your mule, your donkey should walk. But now, when you change transitions like this, the mule has to get his head up in order to be able to lengthen the stride, and that's because of his body, his bone structure. So you're going to have that. And can you eventually get it down and have them gait? Yes, and have them walk correctly. But it needs to be done in short spurts. So, and try not to startle the mule, your donkey, when you're doing surcingle work. Because here's nice and quiet. You see she has the whip in her left hand. You just saw it a split second there. And when you go, just kind of a little smooch. And then it should go off nice and balanced. Now, eventually, it will. For now, she's doing an extended trot because she's concerned. She's a little scared. So don't worry, just get a little at a time. So there she goes. She'll go off, and she'll be right there like that. Right there, you see the whip on the left-hand side. Nice and balanced. Now you're going to take, and when you go along, just kind of smooch just a little bit quietly. It's still going to catch them off guard. They'll still elevate the head, but eventually you'll get to where a piece at a time, a little at a time, this mule will keep his head down and nose on vertical. Now, what a lot of people do is they over-tighten the bridle and stuff. Now, one thing I can tell you here that I shared with her, that the reins are too loose. So I've asked her to snug up the reins because you don't want to see them flopping. You want to see them where you just, as you tighten up the reins, you want to just barely feel the bit. So you're tightening up the reins, and as you make it where it's about right, if you can just start to feel the bit, tighten it off there. And also, I might also mention too, that if they can get their head down to get a bite, to look around, then you got it too loose.
Awesome. Yeah, Steve sent that to me earlier this week. I said, we'll get it queued up here. And I was interested to hear what it was you wanted to bring in front of folks. And folks, go ahead. You know what? Send over a video. If you're experiencing issues, send over a video, take some pictures. We want to help you. Sometimes there'll be something where you just, hey, I don't know this mule, so I can't tell you anything beyond what I can see. But I'll tell you what I see. So let us know. Very grateful. I think Jackie sent that in. Very grateful that Jackie took time to send that in. And grateful that we can share it here together. That's a really great picture of what it is you want to see when you're talking about being, straight.
Framed up.
Yeah, framed up. That's it. Being framed up nicely. So Steve, Linda sent me a message. there's a national day for just about, there's National Hot Dog Day. There's like national, yard maintenance day. There's there's a national day for everything. But is there a national mule day? That's something that I've been wondering.
There
And
is.
I was going through emails. Turns out, thank you to Linda the Mule Servant, we discovered that, let me go here. Let me share. We discovered that there is a National Mule Day. National Mule Day, October 26th, recognizes an intelligent pack animal, many mistaken to be stubborn. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth, Steve? I had no
Yeah.
idea there was a National Mule Day. Did you know that there was a National Mule Day?
Yeah, sure did. Sure
I did
did.
not know this. So I'm going to have to just get this on our radar, and maybe next year we'll do something special around October 26th. I thought that'd be kind of fun.
There you go. Cool.
That'd be kind of fun.
Now,
So
notice now, these mules are not from the United States. These mules are in South America.
there you go. See, send a picture in. We wouldn't have been able to know that if you hadn't had a picture. They got the picture. Send a picture in.
Okay? And then how can I tell? Okay, how can I tell they're from South America? Look at the type of tail grouper that there is on there. You see how that comes? Notice the square kind of big saddle blanket. That's what they do a lot of. And then notice the saddle is sitting right on top of the scapula.
Yeah, we'd make some adjustments there, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. Anyway, there you are. How about that?
Awesome. Well, we will have to do something about National Mule Day. Thank you, Linda. Let's see here. Going back, got some more folks hanging out with us today. Nancy says, when I got a donkey back in February, his belly was 56 inches. I measured him the other day for a lady that was going to make him a blanket. Donkey's short and round like me, 59 inches around the middle. Is that okay to put 13 inches on? The neck is fine.
No, that's not good. That's a few too many times in smorgasbord like me. I need to get rid of a few inches myself, and I'm starting to do that. Anyway, no, it's not. Folks, here's the problem, and I shared this with you before, and I was really hammering this thing last Wednesday, is that we overfeed our animals. One of the number one problems of our equine is we overfeed them. And then when we do feed them, we don't feed them correctly. Now, I've got a lot of articles and stuff about it, and I talk about it continually. You exercise and proper nutrition, the donkeys, the mules, the Steves, and the Daves will do better.
Awesome. Mules cannot stand prosperity. Y'all need to establish a feed and nutrition program. Steve's gone ahead and put the bare bones together for you. You can check it out at the link I just shared. That is the article that has the information about what you want to look for in a feed. Now, Steve advocates for the pellet feed for many reasons. Number one, you know what's in it. Number two, it's easy to measure and you know exactly how much you're feeding. Number three, it's a great feed as it is. So if you cannot locate Lake and Light in your area, because it's only available in some areas, and that's the feed that Steve has used for years, you can take the ingredients that are in the link that I just sent, Feed and Nutrition Program, take those into your local feed shop and say, hey, what do y'all have that's like this? Now, that's a starter. To really get your best feed, what you're going to do is get a hair follicle test done on your animal to see what types of deficiencies the animal has. And you can go to the Extension Center for many universities and get that done. You can do a search online, hair follicle sample, equine, and see if there's other services. But the feed that you see on the Mules Can't Stand Prosperity article that I shared above, that's just a starter. You're going to want to do some supplemental vitamins and minerals on top of that. And of course, you feed to use, right, Steve? You don't just set them out there and say, well, this is how much Steve said.
Yep, that's exactly right. Depends on how they're being used. And that's really important to know that, because if they're standing around, we're going to feed a certain way. If we're putting them to use, we're going to feed them a certain way. And if I'm using them, I don't mind feeding them grain at that time. But just sitting around this like eating cookies and candy is no good.
Yeah, well, it is good,
Yeah,
but it's not good.
yeah, but it's not good. It's not good. The older you get, the worse it gets.
Jack is watching from Johannesburg, 45 degrees, heavy fog. That should be a band name. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Jack and his band, Heavy Fog. Jackie says, that's my Annie on the video. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for sharing, Jackie. Appreciate it. Let's see. Daniel, I think it's Danielle or Danielle, is watching from Scottsboro, Alabama. And the weather is 100% humidity. Oh my goodness, laying it on thick. Steve is watching from Delta, Colorado, 40 degrees, cloudy, and it snowed last night. Linda says, are we going to party on National Mule Day? I think we should. Linda, you are in charge of the party. You let us know where you want us to send people, and we'll be on it. Let's see here. Cody is watching from Memphis, Tennessee. All right. Got some good barbecue in Memphis. Linda says, Nancy, please, don't let your donkey just graze and measure your grain and hay. Unlike a horse, you will have to pin your donkey to keep it off grass part of the day. I was ignorant, and my poor Millie has fat pockets for days. She will never be rid of them. Yeah, that's not the only report that we've heard there, Linda, so appreciate you being an advocate for Nancy. Tina is watching from windy Central Illinois, where it's 70 degrees. Kathy is watching from Central Texas, 77, windy, and drought. We understand that. Thanks, and God bless you. We've got another question here. This one comes in from Jordan. Jordan sent in a message, says, good afternoon. I've had the hardest time fitting my Missouri Foxtrotter. I've been through 4 saddles. None of them fit. My horse has an extremely flat tabletop back, no withers, and a short back, yet huge shoulders. Even FQHB pinch, making her very uncomfortable and blocked with her movement. She cannot gait properly. Now, I know these saddles are made for mules and donkeys, but I had been suggested to look into mule saddles as they are specifically designed to accommodate the flat back and low withers of a mule. I would absolutely love your insight on possibly trying a mule saddle on my horse. Please get back to me at your earliest convenience, Jordan. Now, real quick, Jordan, we don't sell mule saddles. We sell Steve Edwards saddles. You cannot get them anywhere else. So just let that be said. Steve, what would you say to Jordan here?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, Jordan, one of the biggest problems with horse folks is they don't use the rear cinch. There's not a horse out there that I haven't put the tree. I use a horse tree to demonstrate the difference between my tree and the horse tree. And I've seen that horse tree go on a lot of horses and it fit fine. So the biggest problem is you're not using a rear cinch most likely. And then the saddle goes forward, it goes in the scapular. The other problem is, like a lot of other people, you're using a cotton pick and wool pad. All a wool pad's going to do, or wool blanket, is scoot that saddle forward. That's what wool does. So if you're riding a wool saddle, a pad or blanket, that means you got to over tighten the saddle to make it fit. And that's the only thing I can tell you. The folks that call their saddles mule saddles, they might as well call them pig saddles because they probably don't fit a pig either. Folks, at one time there was no market on selling mule saddles. And now mules have become popular. Now everybody and their grandmother says they got mule saddles. And a lot of these saddles come from something called China. And you can tell by the price that they are. Anyway, no, my saddle won't work on your horse. Don't bother. Don't call me. It's not going to work, partner. I'd love to tell you it would, but it's not going to. It's just like a lady called me today or text me. No, she actually wrote into you, Dave, and she said, I'd like to talk to you about putting a crouper ring on your saddle. And so I called her just before the show, and I said, ma'am, I don't put crouper rings on my saddles. I care more for my mules and donkeys. So I'm sorry I can't help you. I'd rather not sell a saddle than I would think I'm going to be crippling a mule or a donkey. Not going to happen.
Yeah, it's just the foundational differences between the horse and the mule and the donkey, they're just different designs. They're intelligently designed, and allows them to do different things, have different tendencies, have different strengths, certainly different weaknesses. The donkey foot is a terrible foot, and of course the mule gets a lot of those traits from the donkey, but at the same time they are incredibly intelligent animals, and they do a lot of thinking. Matter of fact, the first time I ever rode a mule, and if you've watched for a number of years now, you've heard me tell this story. The first time I ever rode a mule, Steve set me up on Stacy, his wife's mule, Susan's mule, and we come to a riverbed. And for me, it was steep. It was probably just like getting out of bed in the morning for Steve, but for me, it was steep. So I was kind of nervous, and I said, "What am I supposed to do?" And he says, "Just let her go, and she'll figure it out. She knows what to do." So I just released from the reins, just kind of set the reins down, held them there. And I kid you not, I can see it in my head vividly. Every move with her foot was intentional. She wasn't just going, like looking ahead. We're supposed to drive a car looking ahead in the future. A lot of people just stare at the road right in front of them. You're supposed to look ahead in the future. Well, this mule was doing, what you're not supposed to do in a car. Looking at every single step and figuring out where she wanted to put her foot before she moved up. That's just a unique thing. So they're all different. Folks who are uninformed will start talking about, oh, this is abuse. Oh, that's abuse. And here's the thing. Treating a mule or a donkey like a horse, that turns into abuse. But you don't see it until one day they just say, nope, no more. Or you do something even worse and, break their back or something like that. So we'll give you the truth. Like I said, we'll give you the truth, and then you've got the information. You can make a decision. This next one, this one comes in here from Katie. She sent in an email. I have a 13-year-old John Mule. I use him when I guide hunts and to lead trail rides. He is amazing in the mountains, crosses rivers, pushes through alders, and will go all day long with zero hesitation. When we are leading trail rides on single file trails, he leads very well. The issue I have with him is when we are on the trail ride and the trail opens up to a clearing, or we are on a road where other horses can get up beside him, he will immediately stop and start to back up, as if he is trying to let everyone pass him. Then he will set himself in behind the other horses and mules. When this happens, I give him verbal cues to walk on, following with leg pressure, leading to tapping from behind with the tips of my reins. He will just hold up and not make forward movement until other riders pass him. I'm usually riding with beginner riders and am unable to direct them to assist in getting my mule to get up in front of them. My mule will ride out alone with zero hesitation. He only has this issue when other horses come up beside him. What can I work on to get him past this? He has good impulsion and will walk, trot, and canter when cued. Great description there from Katie. Steve, what would you say to Katie?
Yep, very good description. So here's what I would do, Katie. And folks, we all do the same. You all do the same thing. You use your legs a little bit, and you use your reins to slap them on the butt or a quirk and this sort of thing. Ask, tell, demand. Ask with your calf, tell with the side of your stirrup, demand with your spur. Look, you have to make where this mule thinks he's going to be comfortable, you have to make him uncomfortable. He's sitting here thinking, all right, I'm going to let everybody go by because then I can be comfortable and I don't have to be the leader anymore. I don't have to do nothing and go on. So he thinks standing right here is going to be a comfortable spot. Make it uncomfortable. Ask, tell, demand, and use that spur. Ask, tell, demand. So calf, side of your stirrup, spur. And do it again. But do not do both legs at the same time. Do right, left, right, left. Right brain go forward. That's what you're saying. Left brain go forward. Remember, they don't have the cranial lobe that tells the left side what to do or the right side what to do. So therefore, you tell the right side with your calf, side of your stirrup, spur. Left side, calf, side of your stirrup, spur. Ask, tell, demand. And that way you go forward. Do not, folks, do not have somebody out slap the mule with a quirk or anything, or have another mule go forward to get them to follow. Don't do that. Use your spurs. You be the herd leader and use your spurs.
All right. Next question we got here. This one came in from Christine. She says, I hope you and your wife and family are doing great. Y'all doing good, Steve?
Yeah, we're doing awesome.
Awesome. My nephew and former mule are a perfect team. I'm interested in finding a mule or a donkey for me, a 70-year-old lady who still enjoys riding with the family on our farm or up in the White Mountains at the cabin. I prefer a sweet, calm, sure-footed, shorter equine around 13.5 or 14 hands, easy to catch, easy to work on, picking out hooves. Over 10 years old would be good. It takes me a little longer to get on and off these days, so he or she must be good standing for dismounting. Smooth gaits are also important. Now, I put this in here because a lot of folks are looking for different things, and so I figured this would be an opportunity to comment maybe on some things that Christine might want to consider. But then I'll also say, Christine, if you find something, send Steve a picture. He'll take a look. But there are very few mules out there right now for sale that Steve knows personally, that he has handled, that he has worked with, that he has watched and spent time around. So it's hard to say you want this mule. Occasionally it comes up, but it's really, really rare when Steve can say you want this mule. But maybe we've got some tips here on things you can look for. So Steve, what would you say here to Christine?
So I've known Christine quite a while, and her little mule, Millie, is the name of the mule. Leopard Appaloosa mule that I work cows with and this sort of thing. I talked to her nephew, last week, I think it was, and he was telling me how he was riding Millie and just loved her. Had just been on I think it was Monday. Yeah, Monday. He'd just been on a weekend ride someplace in the Superstitions. So, Christine, you're looking for the same mule that everybody else is, except for height. And I hear you about the height. That's a good deal. I have a little mule that I ride. His name's Rocky. He thinks he's 16.2. I think sometimes he's a great little mule. 13.2. And I punch cows on him and ride him and just love him. Matter of fact, Randy said he wants to borrow him for a while when he starts riding again down on the Seneca Ranch. Anyway, I will keep my eyes open. A donkey would be nice for you. They're gentle folks. Donkeys are great. They've got a gentle disposition about them. But the biggest thing, folks, is you need to learn how to ride and communicate. It doesn't make any difference if I ride them or somebody else rides them. It finally comes down to you. So you need to learn how to ride and communicate.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much for sending that in, Christine. Continuing on here, we've got Tina watching from windy and 70 degrees in central Illinois. We said hello there. Let's see. Nancy says, Donkey gets a fleek of hay in the morning, not unless I turn him out for 4 hours in the morning, and that's only 3 to 4 times a week. He gets 6 cups of pellets at night. When he's out, he runs in circles, kicking up his heels and enjoying the sun. So there you go, a little bit more there. Let's see. Megan says, can you ground work a mule in the winter?
Absolutely.
All right. Get out there, Megan. Let's do it. Send us some pictures.
Hey, did you get the email from Myra about the Reinsman bit and the bucking rolls that I sent to you?
Let me take a look here. Let me get to the next section and then okay. 40 minutes ago, earlier today.
Yeah.
I see it. Let's see. I don't see any pictures. Were there pictures that came in?
No, she just wanted to know about how and where are bucking rolls placed on the
Here we
saddle.
go. Okay, so I've got 2 questions. It's okay with me if you answer them on the podcast. How and where are the bucking rolls placed on the saddle? What is the reason for the difference between regular Reinsman correction bit and your longer and shaped Shank correction bit? There we go, from Myra.
Okay, Dave, I sent you a picture back when we were talking about bits of the two bits laying on the table, and you can see how my bit doesn't lay flat. The front of the bit is curved up a little bit, and the horse bit lays flat. So, Myra, it's a matter of how the bit lays in the mule's mouth. Now, will your correctional bit work? Yes, it will. But I made changes because I wanted my mule's nose more on the vertical so he was more comfortable. And there you go. You see the picture there of my bit, and then look at the bit to the left there, and you can see how it lays flatter. And so what that amounts to is that tips the bit back in the roof of the mouth. There, that's a horse bit right there, how it lays flat. So there's the difference, folks, right there. It's a matter of how it sets in the mule's mouth. And to me, riding my mules and seeing how it goes, they're a lot more comfortable and they're a lot more responsive. Now, will that bit work? Yes, it will. Okay. Yes, it will. Never get the copper. You notice there on the bit on the that's laying flat with the flat shanks. Notice the little slides, that one right there. Notice the little slides in it. That's copper, and copper doesn't work on a mule or a donkey. It makes their mouth to take away the saliva, and they tend to have problems with it, and they gap their mouth a lot. Yeah, had no veterinarian tell me it's almost like having an electric in there and shocking them. I don't know for sure, but anyway, you see the difference right there. Now the bucking rows. Dave, I don't know if
there we go.
Pictures of bucking rows.
What about the bucking rolls? Let me see if I can find pictures. You go ahead and start talking. I'll see if I can get the picture.
So the bucking rows on all of your saddles on the pommel, as the horn comes up, comes down along and then the pommel, and it rounds off. There are 2 screws on each side. Those screws come out. The bucking rows go on. You put the screws and holds the bucking rows in place on the outside. Then you take your string in the middle and you pull it up tight so the bucking rows lay over. Now, the nice thing about bucking rows, you can have 2 saddles in one. For instance, if you have in your family a bigger person and a smaller person, you can take a 17-inch saddle and make it a 16-inch saddle by using the bucking rows. There you are. You can see how it sets right in there. Then what that does then, folks, that gives you a little bit of pressure in the rein. He's wearing the same shirt as I am, me and that guy. How about that?
That's funny. Y'all, you're actually seeing Steve's twin right now. It looks like it's on YouTube, but Steve's twin right now.
Yeah. So you see I put him down in, and I'm using the drill there to take out the screw. And I put them down in the water to let them kind of soak a little bit. Anytime, folks, you want to shape leather, always put it in water. And that way the leather loosens up, gets nice and soft, gets pliable. You can see I'm taking the screw out right there. And then I take and put the bucking row on and attach it back. It takes less than 5 minutes. It's all done. And yes, bucking rows are nice to have. They do hold you snugger in the saddle. But the idea of the pommel, that's the pommel right there. See, I'm putting the bucking rows on. The idea of the pommel actually takes the place of the bucking rows. But if you want to take one saddle and make it 2, all you got to do is buy a pair of bucking rows, and then you can make the saddle fit a smaller person. So, see, I got it attached on one side, then I turned around and attached it on the other. I'm done. 5 minutes, and you got another saddle.
Real quick, very versatile. Do not need to buy a second saddle. You can go ahead, just put those bucking rolls on there. You'll be good to go. All right, let's see here. Continuing on. This is Laura in Tennessee. I am checking to be sure you received my info for the head. Yes, Laura, I missed it last week after you sent it in. I was in Houston. I forwarded it to Steve. I found it and I forwarded it on. We got you covered. We'll do another one here shortly.
Tomorrow morning.
We'll ship it out tomorrow morning. Thank you, Laura. Trace says, good to see you, Steve and Dave from Lowood, Queensland, Australia. 91.4 degrees, a hot one. I'm hoping that's Fahrenheit there. I'm hoping you're doing the translation for us there, and it's not 91.4 degrees Celsius. I don't think that'd be livable. Linda says, I'm the same age as Christine. I want to say that but you are not, Linda. My goodness, you've got so much vibrance. I need to rethink what I'm thinking about 70 years old. That's what I need to do. That's great. I just want to say that I believe all the things you want you can teach with Steve's advice, except maybe smooth gaits. Anything I've ever asked Theo to do using Steve's methods, he has done. That's good to hear. Awesome. Brian is watching from Norwich, Ohio. Megan says, thank you. You got it, Megan. We're glad you're here today. Hannah is watching from Denelin, Florida, 74 degrees and rainy. Hi there, guys. She's got some cool horse and equine and heart emojis. Michelle says, Steve, do you personally recommend specific trainers selling mules? You know anyone out there that you recommend, Steve?
I don't. I wish I could tell you, go to ABC training and mule sales and away you go. I can tell you that the mules that I've helped sell this past year were, number one, I knew the mules. I've ridden them. I knew how they were and this sort of thing. I knew the mules. Number two, I also knew the rider, except for in one instance. And I can safely tell you that the mules made a big difference in how, because they were trained correctly. And so these people pretty much enjoyed. But I don't know, folks. Yes, I know a lot of people out there that train and sell mules. But I can also tell you that I would not feel comfortable telling you to go to buy their animals. I can tell you that I've got a lot of clients that unfortunately have purchased mules from different people on the internet, and now they got problems. And the people, of course, won't make it right. What they always say is, we'll send you another mule, but they'll never get your money back. And unfortunately, you can keep on following that gravy train for the seller, because the seller, like I know some sellers that have taken advantage of people, brought them mules. They were not correct mules. So about 5 or 6 months later, and the people had to feed them and take care of them. In the meantime, they brought them some other mules, and those mules were problem mules as well. And they gave up after that, because otherwise, almost a whole year. Sure, here's the story. If you don't like this mule, I'll get you another one. Well, it could take you months, folks, years even. So don't play that game.
So we've got two things that I want to share. Steve took a bunch of time to put together an article called Mules for Sale, How to Buy a Mule on Craigslist or at Auction. And that has all of his thoughts. And that is giant F-bomb, free, baby. So go check that out. I put that link in the comment section. And the second one is Steve's excellent videography video, if I do say so myself. One of his finest shot videos. Whoever was behind the camera really did just an incredible job for his video. So you want to buy a mule. That video is $60. If you're about to get into this thing for $6,000 or $16,000, it's going to be the best $60 you've ever spent in your life. Steve took a large chunk of his time, set it aside to answer a lot of the questions folks are asking. I put the link in that comment section as well, so you can go check that out. We've got James watching from Holden, Missouri. Susan is here. Hey guys, I'm late to the party in Southwest Michigan. Drizzle and 60s. Glad to be here. That sounds like a nice dance. Y'all going to the Drizzle and 60s dance? Linda says, I think video is frozen in Facebook. Do a refresh for me there, Linda. I think that'll help us out. Megan says, what about a hackamore on a mule? Whoa, there's a big question. What about a hackamore on a mule, Steve? What's a hackamore and what about it?
Hackamore is a wonderful tool. I like to use it on my mules all the time. It kind of keeps their freshness to them. It keeps their mouth fresher. It works on the nose. And mules love their nose. They care more about their nose than do the mouth. The downside is, folks, it's your hands is the problem. Right here. Your hands. That's the problem. When you take and work with a mule and you work with their nose, you've got a good chance of having a mule really upset. Not only that, with the cartilage on the nose, you've got all kinds of nerves here. Yep, nerves that you got a chance of crippling too. And most of these hackamores out here are not made correctly. And so, do I use them? Yes. Do I use them all the time? No, I do not. Use a bit. You get yourself in trouble. And here's the problem. Everybody thinks I'm just going to ride this mule in this hackamore. And all of a sudden, they're in trouble and they can't stop them. There you are. That's what's going to end up in result. So do I use a hackamore? Yes, wonderful tool. It goes on the nose. There's nothing goes in the mouth. But you have to be super good. That mule has to ride 80% off his legs and 20%, 80% off your legs and 20% off your hands. In other words, you're going to be using more leg cues than you are hands. The biggest problem, Dave, with a hackamore is people are using their hands all the time, always have a hold of the animal. And that constantly puts pressure upon the mule. They finally are tired of all the pain that they're going through and they wig out. They're gone.
Daniel's watching. We'll take a couple more questions here. Daniel is watching. How do you make a mule believe that you're an experienced handler? Also, someone with no experience that can be around mules.
F-bomb. Yeah. And that is groundwork. I've got all kinds of videos that are free on groundwork. But the biggest thing you guys can do, all of you, I do it all the time. I take a mule, I don't care if it's a well-trained mule, whatever, and I'll do some basic groundwork with them using the come-along hitch, just to freshen them up, just to get me, with my hands, getting better. So where do you start? Groundwork. Where do you need to do? A ground communication tool. That's a wonderful kit.
Awesome. Continuing on, Linda says Facebook's back, so awesome. Good to have you back here with us, Linda. Linda says Dave is so modest. Yeah, just ordinary videographer. Carol is watching from St. James, Missouri. Susan says, are you speaking of a mechanical hackamore or a Bosalas with Mecate?
I'm speaking of either one. I'm basically was right there talking about a mechanical hackamore. Bosales, you better be really good. You go put a Bosales on a mule's nose. Okay. Now remember, you have different sizes of Bosales. Okay. The finish isn't much more big around than my little finger. Okay. That's a finished Bosales. And your other Bosales that you do in the very beginning, they're usually about an inch around and rawhide. So if you're going to ride, you can ride with a mechanical hackamore. If you're going to train, you're going to train with a Bosales, with a Mecate.
Awesome. Okay, let's see here. Linda says, okay, that's all our questions. We'll get to our drawing here in a second. Linda says, by the way, our farrier just came for his 8-week visit. Theo is usually first to get done because he walks in and parks himself, lifts his left foot when he sees the farrier, and we all laugh. We're laughing with you. That's great. Send us a video next time. Linda, prove it. Prove it. Send us a video. We want to see that. We'll share it. Lisa is watching from Conneaut Lake, Pennsylvania, 50 degrees. I'm late. I got the groundwork kit today in the mail. Thanks. Awesome. We're glad that you're here. Better late than never. Always, y'all, if you can't make it live or you show up late or you show up early and you got to leave before it's over, you can go watch the replay, catch the entire thing, and get fixed up that way. Okay, speaking of getting fixed up here, let's do a drawing. Steve, what is the way this works, folks? We've got some bridles that we want to give away. Steve is going to ask a question, and I have a screen here in front of me that has all of my comments from Facebook and YouTube. So it doesn't matter where you're commenting from. The first person to show up on my screen gets it. So what do they get? They get the bridle. What do they have to show up? An answer. What is the question today, Steve?
Okay, so the question is, this mule head that's on this bridle, okay, has right down here a brand. Can you see that brand, Dave?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. What does that brand mean?
All right. So y'all see there is a brand on the headstall. If you look at other Steve Edwards products, you'll see that brand as well. All right, let's see. Lisa, let's give it a second to come in. Okay. Lisa sent one in. Linda sent one in. Because I'm actually not entirely sure. I think I know, but I'm not entirely sure. Okay. Lisa says Queen Valley Mule or Queen Valley Ranch. Linda says Queen Valley Mule Ranch. Eileen says Queen Valley Mule. Which one is it one of those?
Yes.
Okay. Is it Queen Valley Mule?
Yes.
Hey! All right. So, Lisa, Linda, you were fast. Eileen, you got it right. I actually wasn't entirely sure. Any story how you came up with that brand, Steve?
Well, yeah, actually, years ago, when I first trying to figure out the brand, I also had a breeding donkey, and so people would say, well, you breed this donkey to these animals and this sort of thing. So we were trying to figure some way to do a brand that looked like a sperm. Okay, so if you look at Queen, the QVM, it looks like a sperm tail.
Oh my goodness. All right. Hang on, folks.
So that's a long story there, folks. You can figure that one out. So Queen Valley Mule is exactly what it is. QVM.
All right, here we go.
Everything comes off of the Q.
All right, there you go, right there. QVM. QVM. Right there.
Yep. That goes on the left shoulder, and it's a cold brand.
Awesome.
In other words, I do it with ice.
Awesome. Very good. Eileen, congratulations. Do me a favor, Eileen. I have been traveling a lot. I have been in and out of the office a lot more. Send a message to steve@muleranch.com. Do you want regular size or do you want the large size? And then send your shipping address and Steve will get it out to you. And, I don't know, maybe it'll arrive before Christmas or shortly thereafter. We'll see. But Steve will get it out to you as soon as he has that information. So might even been able to get it out to you tomorrow. So send that, steve@muleranch.com. Steve, this was fun. Thanks for hanging out a little bit more with us. Any plans for this weekend? This is the weekend before Christmas.
Yeah, no, I don't have any plans. We're going to go watch a ballet at my church with the kids and this sort of thing on Saturday. And then Friday afternoons, I always take my 49 Mercury or my 64 Falcon Woody wagon, and I go down to the car show and show one of them. And I also am the announcer at that car show, which we've done before and with the boys, and that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was great. Let me see here. I'll bring up bring up a quick picture. The boys loved it. They
When
just
I send out these halters, I'll be sending them 3-day priority. Well, not halters,
ooh.
but these bridles. I'll send them 3-day priority. So we'll get them to you right away.
How about that? I'll tell you what. So the boys still talk about how cool it was that they go, Mr. Steve. Steve, he was the celebrity there. He told everybody. He said their names over the PA, and they just got a kick out of that. So you can see us there. Those are my boys. Isaiah is there in the green. Isaac is wearing the hat, and Stevie's the one floating.
And that's my 64 Falcon. Now, that 64 Falcon was Susan and I's first car. I bought it 51 years ago.
Okay, so be thinking. 61 Falcon, bought it 51 years ago. Maybe this will be a question in the future. Just saying. Maybe y'all remember.
Possibility there, yes.
Possibility there. Just think about it. All right, y'all. Thank you for hanging out. Steve, thanks for hanging out. Everyone be safe. Hope that if we don't see you before Christmas, then we hope that you have a great one. And if we do see you before Christmas, still hope that you have a great one. But I hope you have a great evening. Steve, take care.
Yep. Pray for the people in Kentucky.
Pray for that's 15 minutes away from all my family.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Paducah, Kentucky, and Boaz, Kentucky, and Keville, Kentucky. That's where all my family is. Mayfield was one of the was one of the high schools that my mom, she went to Heath High School in Paducah, Kentucky. Mayfield was, I think, one of the rival high schools in McCracken. There's McCracken County, and I think it's Mayfield County. So anyways, yeah, all my family's safe, which I'm grateful for. And it doesn't sound like they knew anybody that, was hurt or anything like that. But yeah, pray for the folks in Kentucky. It's legit. So, all right. Thanks, folks. Take care.
All right. See y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.